Hello everybody, welcome back to another mini review. Today we're going to be taking a brief look at Choo Choo Charles, a game about a killer spider train, which is now probably more of a meme than anything else at this point. And it's fine, I guess. Originally released in December of 2022 via the solo indie dev 2-Star Games, while I'm not going to spend this entire video raving about the game, let me first state that for a solo project, Choo Choo Charles is still pretty impressive overall. Visually, the day-to-day aspects of the game hold up nicely. The gameplay is relatively fleshed out for an experience that generally lasts no more than 2 to 3 hours, complete with a map that rewards exploration and also offers collectible upgrades. The idea of forcing the player to primarily rely on a train to get around is also surprisingly entertaining, and overall it feels nicely executed. As for the map itself, the atmosphere can be decently presented at times, with the game taking place on a small, spooky island. And as an idea, Charles himself is fun. He's a killer spider train that takes full advantage of the fact that a children's show about sentient steam trains could actually be pretty fucking traumatizing when it wanted to be. So, Choo Choo Charles has all of the necessary ingredients to be a somewhat tense, but mostly fun, schlocky horror game that clearly isn't going to be taking itself too seriously. But it's a bit of a mixed bag, honestly. While the game's overall runtime is entertaining enough, and I stand by all of my previous compliments, it's hard to deny that it often feels somewhat underbaked at times. I like Charles as an idea, and fighting him can be legitimately difficult at times, but he often feels like something of a one-trick pony. He just shows up and does his thing, and then he runs off again before soon coming back to do essentially the same thing as before. If you're on foot, you either hide or die, and if you're driving the train, you either run, fight, or die. Charles himself doesn't really do anything different until the final confrontation, minor spoilers, so after a handful of encounters with him, you'll be all too familiar with his habits, and it does soon grow pretty tiresome to hear that distant horn and the scary music kicks in. But then this also leads into the second issue. Charles himself isn't all that scary, to be honest. He's menacing and I like his design well enough, but he's not exactly what you could call frightening. He's kind of scary in the same way that the monsters from Five Nights at Freddy's are trying to be scary. They're just a big over-the-top CG rendered monstrosity that makes for a pretty good reaction video thumbnail, but ultimately falters at the moment of actually trying to be scary. He's fun, yes, there's no denying that, but the more familiar you become with him, the more annoying he becomes. After the first hour or two, once you've run into him a number of times, you'll be pretty keen just to get to the end of the game. The open world feels a bit same old the more you ferry around it too. The static, lifeless NPC characters are little more than planks of wood that just so happen to also speak. Although their faces aren't animated with any speaking animation, so they just stare eerily into your eyes as if waiting for the right moment to steal your soul. And again, the encounters with Charles, they aren't nearly as much fun after a couple of hours. It wears its welcome out pretty quickly. And so while I can't say I was bored with it, if the game had been an extra hour longer in duration, I probably would have been. So yeah, Choo Choo Charles is fine. At $16.75 or $20, it's maybe a little bit overpriced, but I also admire the solo developer enough for the work that was put into this, so I guess that's maybe just my own opinion. That's all I have to say. I will see you next time.
You